record, put on speaker. Okay, good. Whoa, this isn't right. Something went wrong here. Hang on a second, we're not getting enough height here. Let's see if that's better. Oh, that's a little better. Okay, there, that's it. That's good. So you want to be mindful if any of these familiar movements are becoming rote. In other words, if you're doing the movement but your mind is going somewhere else, you want to be mindful of that and change the movement to bring your attention back to it. And that's generally true if the mind wanders while you're doing Qigong. Then you wanna adjust something. Do it a little differently or more intensely to keep remember it's body, breath, and mind. So you want to keep all three in consciousness, in awareness, so that if the mind begins to have a mind of its own, so to speak, then you want to bring the attention into body and breath, because in this society we are really thinkers. We really tend to interpret the world through our thoughts, and so that's what the mind just is used to doing. So, and then ways you can do that. I mean, you can really do this intensely. So the arms, go way out. You can really deeply shift the weight, really sink down, really turn, and keep the mind and body and breath together. You can also focus on the breath intentionally. So, oh, okay, my mind's thinking. So now let me see how I'm breathing. And just breathe consciously, breathe with attention. Or you can use the mind itself, so you can do things like counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then repeat 1, 2. So the counting is a way of using the mind to focus the mind. And then you can use the breath to focus the mind, or you can use the body to focus the mind. Okay. And then as we sort of reduce this, then we're going to bring the mind and breath, the mind to the body. Okay, and by that I mean is we're going to focus our attention on the posture, or really feeling the feet, and then on up. And concentrating the mind on the body. Making whatever adjustments we need to make to loosen it up. So we're engaging the mind. When we're engaging the mind, it's not running off on its own. So we're engaging the mind with the body, with the posture, and also with the breath. Okay, very good. And before each movement, there's an intention. So this happens before every single movement we do, that we intend to move that way. So we'll just form the intention. Okay, now we're going to bow the directions. Okay, so mind and body now are together. Form the intention. Okay, so dipping the knees and and again, we're going to bring the mind. You can place the mind anywhere in the body. One useful way is down the spine as you bend. Then up the spine as you straighten up. In breath, then out breath. In breath coming up. So that's another thing that you can focus on is the breath. Okay. You can also use the mind to focus the body and the breath. So by that I mean, so we're going to dip the knees, and now the mind is saying up, 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 reach up, look up, extend the attention. We're extending the attention up. This is mental. We're feeling way, way, way up. Okay, now we say, okay, now come down and around, touching all reality all around. Good. Okay, and now we'll say, now we're bending down and touching the earth, the material realm, the ancestors. In breath up, and then within. Okay, so the awareness is always body, breath, mind. It's always a combination of those and an intermingling of those. That's the practice. So just if you would just notice sensations in the body. Okay, adjust your posture. And you can feel it when body, mind, and breath are in harmony. Because the mind is open and empty. The breath is free, even, and the posture is aligned, and the body is alive. It's tingling. And when all of those are together, there's a feeling. And it's a pleasant feeling. It's a good feeling. There's a sense of happiness, actually. And when we're aware of all of that, and we're aware that all those are balanced and present, then there's sort of this release, and we can just be in this space. Okay. Okay, very good. Now let's go ahead and loosen up the neck, shoulders, head. And again, it's body, breath, and mind, no matter what we're doing. So we're moving the body, we're feeling it, definitely. You can do it with the breath. You can count if you want to. Or just use the mind to notice. Notice if there's pain or tightness. And then when you're ready, then move on down a little. Circle the shoulders. And notice your breath may change. And you can feel the shoulders, arms, hands. You can feel the chest, the ribs, the sternum, the shoulder blades, the spine. You want to maintain posture so that you're not tipping forward. And you can do this alternately too. Okay. Okay, and then widening the stance. Okay, and this is opening the 7 gates right here. It's just an abbreviated in-breath. In-breath is wake up. Out-breath, go to sleep. In-breath is alert. Out-breath is relaxed. So there's something bigger than body, bigger than breath, and bigger than mind. And that's sort of the awareness of all three. So monitoring that all three are present. And you can always utilize counting. If you do, you keep the counting subtle so that you're counting, but you're counting kind of with a soft voice, internal voice that's kind of in the background. You can also send a message to the body and the breath and the mind by smiling a little bit. Then the mind says, oh, we must be happy. Let's just do a couple more. Okay, narrow the stance again. Well, let's just add this one. We've done this before, belly breathing. So it's the same as what we were just doing, only it's with the belly. And it's not as big. So the belly expands. So you see how this is harmonizing body and breath. The body's literally moving with the breath. So those two are harmonized. And then with the mind, we're just feeling this, and we can extend. So when the hands expand, use the mind and expand way bigger than that in all directions. When the hands come back toward the body, then compress inward. So the mind is kind of exaggerating the movements of the body. It's actually extending the awareness beyond the body and then concentrating it in the body. This is also called balloon breathing or balloon hands. Let's just do a couple more. Okay, very good. And then placing one hand in front and one in back and rocking the pelvis. Again, you can be aware of the breath while you're doing this. You can do it with the breath, or you can do a few for each breath. So forward, back is maybe an in-breath, forward, back is an out-breath. And then monitoring the body so that it's the whole body's relaxed. They're not tensing up anywhere. Okay, just one more. Okay, very good. And now circling the hips. Okay, and then the other direction. Okay, all right, very good. All right, and now balancing. So shifting the weight onto one side, getting it all there, bend the knee a little bit, then lift up the heel. And when you feel steady, go ahead and lift up the foot. You can do whatever you want with the hands and so on. The main thing is balancing on one foot. Okay, really good. Studies have shown if you just do that, just as long as we just did that once a week, it does amazing things for the balance. They've tested this in labs and so on. So really, really good practice. Okay. All right, so starting the sequence for the 7 gates, it begins with Trembling Mountain. And again, just remember body, breath, and mind. Now the body's going to be there because it's a very intense feeling. The breath is going to be, you can focus on the breath and see what's happening with the breath. And then the mind is going to have a tendency to empty out. But if it's thinking, then increase the intensity, okay? Or change it in some way, all right? So we keep all 3 in harmony, all right? So at your own pace. And as you know, this can be done very subtly or very deeply, very intensively. It can be done more slowly or very rapidly. And the only thing really that you want to do is keep the feet planted. That's part of the practice. It's keep the feet down. But beyond that, whatever you need to do to be in the spirit of the spirit of the movement. The spirit of the movement is releasing. So whatever you need to do to release. You can use your mind to extend this movement by actually imagining stuff dropping off, going into the earth as kind of as compost. With the out breath, you can just engage the mind with the concept of releasing, letting go, breaking through, breaking out, getting rid of. And it'll come up with images. There could be sounds. So go ahead and engage the mind with this too. And then your attention can switch from mind. Then, oh, you know, how's the breathing? Okay, how does this feeling in the body? Any of those are fine. I mentioned that some schools of Qigong will have practitioners do this for 30 minutes. I've never done it that long, but that's how beneficial it's considered to be. And now the way this is taught for the 7 gates is that we're going to amp up the intensity as we get to the end of this Trembling Mountain part. And so you say, okay, now let's really intensify this. And then we intensify it more. Okay, and then we'll stop together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we go into mindfulness and just notice. Notice sensations. Notice posture. Notice the breath. Maybe the heartbeat. Notice the quality of mind, the activity of the mind, the mood. You just notice. Now, I've had masters say, when you've done this practice and you're standing, what you feel right now in your hands, that's qi. And what I think is meant by that is there's a tingling, warm aliveness in the body that's very obvious. And you feel it in the hands and the face, you can feel it on the skin, and you can feel it inside the body too. And if you can't feel it, pretend you feel it. So the whole body is tingling, and in fact, that's exactly what it's doing. All the cells in the body are alive. And there's life at a very, very microscopic level, and where there's life, there's heat, there's movement. In fact, everything is vibrating. So we're just in touch with that, okay? Okay, very good. So that's the first part. Now, once that's done, now we're going to do this tree in autumn and look up. And we're going to having the palms facing down, reach all the way up. And with the out breath, now we're going to bring down the filter. Remember this? So this is like a screen or a net that's made of light, made of starlight, and is moving through the physical body. And it's kind of combing out everything that can be released. It's not necessary. And when you get all the way down, extend the attention down the legs, down the feet, into the earth as compost. Then turn the hands. So then in breath up. And look up. Now we're bringing down the light of the sun, the moon, the stars. And this time we make the screen finer. And the screen is going through the body, right even with the hands. It's going right through the whole body. You can feel it, or you can imagine it combing through all the muscles, organs, bones, combing through the whole body, filtering everything out. At the bottom, you kind of point down, and then that extends the attention down the legs, down the feet, into the earth. Okay, and the way I was taught, you do this 3 times. I don't think there's anything magical about that. You can do it more. And make the screen finer. This is going through every muscle, organ, bone, everything in the body, filtering through, collecting anything unneeded, all the way down, 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 down out the feet, point down, down into the earth. Okay, so we've done the trembling mountain, loosened everything up, and we've combed it through with this filter. Okay, and now we'll begin the 7 gates practice. So just as a review, so the arm movements, we're going to backs of the hands together, touching or apart. And then the instruction is to imagine a laser beam of light going into, from the heart, around the arms, out the fingers, into the body, penetrating the body. And then when we open up, we're opening up that part of the body. We're opening it vertically, up and down, and all around. Okay. And we're opening to the universal chi. That's what we're opening to. Okay. So now let's do the first set together. And we'll start with a perineum. Okay. So here we go. And we're going to bend at the waist, point the lowest part of the torso, and then with the breath, straighten up, open, open, open. The body's open. The hands, you're looking up, completely open. And that first gate is open. That's the earth gate. Okay. And then again, that bending. Number 2, we're going to point to the lower abdomen. Open, open, open. Okay, with the breath. Okay, next one. This is the solar plexus. Imagine pointing in, the mind goes in, separating, opening this out, opening all 3 of these now. Open. Okay, very good. And bending again. And now number 4 is the heart or the sternum. Straighten up. Opening the rib cage, opening the heart, opening the lungs, feeling the spine. Open. Okay, very good. Next one is going to be number 5. It's going to be the throat. We point to the throat. And when we open these, we're opening all the ones below, too. This is like splitting a snow pea pot, like a pot of peas. We split it open, and there are 7 centers in there. Okay, number 6 is the forehead. We're opening the skull, opening the brain, opening the mind. So all 6 now are open. And the 7th one, we're going to point to the crown of the head. And then as we come up, we're opening up the skull, the head. We're opening up all 7, the whole body. We're splitting open the whole body all the way down. Completely open to the light of the universe and to the earth. And feeling that chi, that life force energy. Okay? Very good. Okay. So we'll do this 2 more times, and you'll do it at your own pace. And then when you're done, that's when the last movement is to bring down the light of the universe or the rainbow light and fill all the gates. We do that a number of times. So we'll go ahead and do open the 7 gates. Do it at your own pace. We'll do that 2 times, and then bringing down the light of the universe and filling the open gates. Okay, and just the last thing is we're opening to the front and the back. Okay, so at your own pace, begin with number 1. Okay, and then the final movement is flying crane. So just do flying crane however you want to. and then reduce the movements. And we'll finish with a brief sitting practice. There's no guidance here. We'll just sit for 5 minutes or so. Let's take a few more breaths. Okay, and then as always, just gently come out of the meditation. Okay, and now the closing movement. I'll do it all together. 1, 2, 3. And I've taught you all the sequence as it was taught to me. But I would say just massage your face as you need to, and your scalp, your jaw, your temples, the upper jaw, if you like, the eye sockets, the ears, whatever you feel. I think it's important to not become habituated so that these movements are just done by rote, but just feel what is best for you right now, and then do that, and that way it'll stay fresh. Okay. All right, good. And then when you're done, then the traditional is to tap the kidneys. And then massage the kidneys. Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much for your presence, for your practice. And if you would like to exit the Zoom, then please do that. If you'd like to stay and talk a little, then we can do that too.
So I'm wondering what it was like to do opening the 7 gates every day, all day for a week. Was it really stretched out, or did you just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, or?
Well, let's see. They had some recorded music that went with it. And there was a little teaching about it, a little discussion, and there was a little variety. They talked about the lineage a little more. But we did that practice, the whole thing, and maybe it was longer than what we did. I mean, maybe it took longer, and we would do it for like 2.5 hours in the morning, and then about the same amount of time in the afternoon, and then the rest of the time was free time. That's how Ken Cohen did that retreat too. If you remember, that we went to down in Tennessee, there was a morning session, a couple of hours, and then there was an afternoon session, a couple of hours, and then the rest of the time was free time. That's how they did it, because it is so intense. And I mean, what it was like. Well, it really activated my dream life, I'll say that. And conversations that you had with other people who were at the retreat were really deep, because everybody was in that space, all the time. And it just, I don't know, then everything kind of gets a clarity. because Tassajara is way out in the mountains. It's very natural. You know, everything around there is really natural. There's no electricity there, and so you just kind of really get into just this kind of slow pace and being out in nature all that time. And the Qigong, so my opinion is that these practices are usually pretty subtle. They don't really seem like that much when you do them, but over time, the effect is profound.
Mm.
And it may be because they're so subtle. You know, they're very gentle. They just kind of, you just bring you into these, you know, different states of being very gently.
Mm.
And somehow that seems, in my opinion, that seems to have kind of this slow, gradual, lasting effect. And I would say that this particular practice, for me, if I was going to pick one, I would say this is the most profound one.
Mm.
You know, so I mean, the way I like to teach is I like to have variety. I like to keep things new, have different views. So people, you know, people like that. We like novelty, you know, in our society. But that's not how the Asians teach this. It really isn't. So, and you know, it doesn't have to be. If I would just say, if you want to try this, devote yourself to this for 3 weeks. In other words, you don't have to do it all day, but just go through the practice once. It takes about half an hour. Just go through the practice once a day, every day for 3 weeks, and just sort of see. Because, you know, I mean, I could tell you all kinds of stories about what effect it had on me, but the effects are indirect. You know, they're kind of, you know, you change in some way, or something happens, and you can't just say, well, that's because I was doing the Qigong. But, you know, it probably was, you know. And I think it increases your immune function too. I think it makes you healthier, and then it makes your body more loose, you know. So I just think the effects are subtle but long lasting.
Interesting.
It's
Yeah,
an
I mean,
interesting idea.
huh?
It's an interesting idea to see if I can get myself to do it every day for 3 weeks or.
Well, this is kind of how I learn. So if I have an intention to learn something, like I remember the metta practice, I really didn't get a lot out of metta practice. And Karuna, you know, our friend, that is her only practice. That's what she does, right? And I said, well, there's got to be something to this. So I just vowed to myself, I'm going to practice this every day for 3 months. This is going to be my meditation practice for 3 months, and I'll see what happens. And I did that for 3 months. It was my only practice. And when I was done, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what effect it had on me. Maybe a little, I don't know, maybe I don't know what, or not. But, you know,
Did
then
you did
I
you
went, I'm sorry.
did you do it when you first thing in the morning, or was that?
Just, yeah, I'm in the habit of doing meditation in the morning
Yes.
when I wake up. And, you know, that's just my habit. So yeah, that would just be my meditation. So it made things simpler. I didn't have to say, well, what am I going to do? What's my meditation going to be this morning? It's like, okay, I know what it's going to be. And our friend Lisa, her only practice is the Anapanasati Sutta. It's the 16 steps of breathing that the Buddha taught. That's her only meditation practice. And she's done that for years, you know? So
Well, I need to shake up my practice a bit, so this would be an interesting
Yeah.
thing to
de
try.
definitely, if you feel you're in a cul-de-sac, then, and you recognize it, yeah, there's so many different practices.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually whether there was one that I had another very sad shock late on Sunday, where I found out that another long-term friend had died very suddenly at the age of 70, and I just was in shock. It hit me so that I don't think I was breathing very well all night. It was like 8 o'clock, and then in the morning I was making my breakfast, and I suddenly felt faint, and I fainted. I actually fainted, and fortunately I had somebody with me, and they thought I had a stroke and called the ambulance,
Oh, geez.
I said and I was fine, and I suddenly realized I have not been breathing, and and I was actually going to go to the retreat in Racine, the meditation one, and I decided to stay home and just stay calm. And I was going to look for something or ask you for something that I could just do maybe once a day to steady me down. I needed something to steady me down, and I just didn't have it available to me. I also think, body reacts to, it was just, suddenly I thought, here's my own mortality. I'm in an ambulance, this is, but it really, it's, and, yesterday and today. So this was really very beneficial to me. And I was thinking if I really did that, maybe 5 days a week, at least in the morning for a while, and see whether that would just keep centering me. I do my meditation practice generally, 25 minutes, half an hour in the morning when I get up. So
it does, see
I got the
see it,
dinner's
Todd.
ready, Paul.
Okay,
So
okay.
thanks,
Thanks.
Todd.
So these Qigong practices, so this is number one, they're really, really old, thousands of years old. And number two, they come from a completely different culture.
Yeah.
So a different time and a different place. So long before, or this is a very different approach than, say, psychotherapy. And I'm not in any way panning psychotherapy. I think it has great uses. But what this kind of practice does is whatever it is you need to clear, whether it's anger or grief or fear or anxiety or distraction or whatever it is you need to clear, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's an obstruction to the breath and an obstruction to the flow of this energy in the body, it's going to move it through. Right? And you'll still miss your friend, and you'll still feel grief, and you'll still feel, it's not like everything's going to be great now. It's not that. It's just that this is how we're not going to get stuck in it. We're not going to get stuck in it. We're going to keep breathing. We're going to keep living. We're going to keep moving through it. So it's not specific to anything. This should work with everything.
I just really, it was just very very meaningful to me, just now, because I could feel it. I could feel I was like in suspended animation. I just didn't sort of, it was standing still.